Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gary Martin. Today I'm joined with 21 handicap Rob, who so far has been having an absolute great season, but he's getting himself a little bit of a tangle with his wedge game. He's got 5 wedges from pitching wedge down. And you know, he doesn't particularly know how far each wedge goes on full shots. You've got an idea, haven't you?
Yeah.
But you said, you know, you've got a gap wedge and a 52, and you don't always use the 52. Is that right?
Not on a full shot.
I think, you know, if you're going to carry clubs, you've got to be confident of what each club does and know the distance, know the gapping. So 5 wedges from pitching wedge down. I'm sure there's going to be some crossovers here. I'm not sure you need to carry 5 wedges. I think we could actually, you know, get rid of a club and there could be a gap in your bag, which he's a bit of a tinker man anyway. So I'm not sure he'll, if we create a gap in the bag, I'm not sure it'll last too long.
Well, at the minute, when I'm just going out, I've got 15 clubs in.
Yeah.
But that's just me tinkering about with stuff. I obviously take them out when I'm playing with lads.
What I always try to do with my sort of higher handicap golfers and mid handicap golfers is make sure that, you know, they carry as little clubs as possible, because then you can actually, you know, spend more time practicing with the clubs that you're going to use. I'm pretty sure if you went to practice short game, you wouldn't practice with all these clubs. There's just too many.
Yeah.
There's too many there. So what we're going to do, we're going to do some distance gapping on our GC quad and have a look at the gaps between each club, and I'm going to sort of give you some advice on what gap I'd like to see in your wedges. So let's have a look then. You've got 5 wedges from pitching wedge down. We're going to see, you know, whether you actually need these 5. It possibly might do. You possibly might do, Rob. You know, but we're going to find that out today.
Okay.
So Rob's now at a full warm-up, haven't you?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to start by hitting 3 balls with each club. We're only going to do 3, and we're going to see if there's any sort of patterns in the shots. We might have to take anomalies out, you know, but we can do that at the end. We're just going to hit 3 full shots with each club and see what the gap is like. And I think with 5 wedges below pitch wedge, I think there could be some crossover in distance. Good strike. Well done. So without looking, how far do you think you get your 60 degree on a full swing? Because that were a good shot, that one.
About 50 yards.
50 yards, 55, not bad. And that's on the carry as well. Which I remember when I used to practice at driving range quite a lot, and you've got your 50-yard marker. It's something you tend to practice a lot, isn't
That's
it?
what I was, when I go to driving range.
Yeah.
There's markers, so I'm depending on what bay.
Yeah.
But that's my guideline of
Yeah.
how reasonably how far I hit them.
We're going to be comparing the data at the end as well on the GC quad, so we'll be inputting all the clubs that he's using today. And that were a great strike. I think that could have gone a bit further. 63.
63.
But I think for most golfers, a 10-yard sort of, you know, differential in distance is not bad, especially for a sort of mid to handicapper. I remember when I was a handicapper, I could have sort of 30 yards within a good shot and a, you know, a bad shot. Used to get a lot of flyers, so it's pretty good that, Rob. One a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
So 40 yards.
That felt a bit, that felt it went higher.
But I think like what you said 50 yards, that seems about your average, doesn't it, for these wedges? So we're going to switch over now. We're going to go up to your next wedge, which is it a 56 you've got?
Yeah.
56. I'm just going to change this on the computer. Right, so again, if you could hit 3 shots. And guys, this is the most useful information, you know, I think that you could get is checking your distance from inside 100 yards. It's a scoring part of your game.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I'd had this technology available to me as a, you know, high to mid handicapper, and taking all that guesswork out of it. .67 yards.
Oh.
Okay. Consistent, 69 yards. I like to see between wedges at least on full shots a 15-yard gap. You know, I think that's about right on wedges, to have a 15-yard gap between each club. if we get to a point in Rob's wedges where he's got less than 15 yards, that's when we might need to look at losing a club. So we're going to see when we analyse that data at the end.
The thing is, I rarely hit a full 60 or 56 unless I've got to go over something.
Yeah.
Unless I've got to go over a bush or... And I know when I've not stuck it right.
Yeah, completely right. You know, you can only do this when you're striking the ball. Well, if Rob were to hit any miss hits today, then that would have to be discounted.
Yeah.
We'd have to take that out.
Yeah.
You know, you're only human, Rob. I'm sure, you know, you're going to have a miss hit at some point. But so far, he's struck the ball reasonably well.
A bit heavy.
I think what a lot of people get wrong as well is when they're buying wedges, Rob, they buy wedges based on loft gapping. So, you know, most amateur golfers, they would, you know, and I don't mean to stereotype everyone here, but I've done it myself. You know, they look at the wedges and then they sort of think, well, I'll get 3 wedges with 4-degree gaps, or I'll get 2 wedges with 6-degree gaps. But that's great if you've got a perfect swing. But not everybody has, and sometimes you've got to go on distance gapping. You've got to actually get your wedges based on distance. It might mean that, you know, you have a 4 degrees gap between a pitching wedge and a gap wedge, but then your sand wedge could be only 2 degrees, or it could be 4 degrees or 6 degrees. It's got to be based on distance. Rather than just taking a loft, a number, and then
I think
doing that. This is the right way to sort of select your wedges, is by distance gapping. Fortunately for you, Rob, you've got enough wedges in your armoury that I'm sure we'll find a set, you know. Is that 3 shots?
Yeah.
Right, okay, we're going to move up to now. Rob's got, in his set, he's got a 52, but he's also got a set gap wedge, haven't you?
Yeah.
So we're going to move up to that. So we're on our 4th wedge, and then after that we've just got 1 to go. That was a lovely strike. That sounded to me a lot better quality strike than your 52.
Yeah.
Which, you know...
This is a bit obviously more forgiving.
It is, yeah. It's a cavity. And I always recommend for sort of higher and mid-handicap golfers is to, rather than getting a specialist sort of gap wedge, like the 52 you've got in the Vokey, is to match in with your irons, get a full cavity wedge, because that's going to be a club that you play a lot of full shots with.
Yeah. I mean, I do that. And I tend to, when I'm not sure, I can play an off shot with this.
I dare to say that you'd rather play that than your 52 if you're playing a full swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just having that bit of cavity and that bit of help, and the club will still create spin because you're playing a full shot. It sounds so much more crisp and solid. Excellent shot. Well done. Do you know what? That's the 3 best wedges you've struck today, that.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Right, final wedge, pitching wedge.
A bit out of turn.
Okay. That might be one we have to dismiss. You know, like I said, you're only human, Rob. You're not going to hit perfect shot every time. Have I given you the right club there?
Oh, you give me 52 again.
Sorry about that.
Looking down, I thought it looks a bit odd.
Right, let me just... I'll delete that one at the end. Sorry about that one, guys.
We are going to get some massive difference with a pitching wedge and 52.
I've not got my glasses on.
Bit heavy. Slightly heavy, that.
It went. And you know, don't worry about your strike, or you know, because this is relatable, Rob. You know, there's a lot of golfs on our channel that are sort of mid-handicappers, and it just shows how important this test is for everybody. You know, not just low handicappers. Handicappers can benefit from this, if not more. Well done.
Good strike.
And what's interesting is you hit the last one a little bit thin.
Yeah.
But you've struck that perfect, and there weren't much difference in distance.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good for going to be good for our analysis at the end. Right, we're going to have a look at this, guys. It's screencasting, so
yeah.
You know, obviously we'll be just talking over. So let's have a look, Rob, how we've done. So we're just looking at the data here, and it shows that the average distance with Rob's 60 is 53 yards, you know, which is quite a nice distance to have with your 60. And then moving up into your 56, Rob, we've got a 13-yard gap, which I like to see around about 13 yards, 15 yards. You've gone up to sort of 66 yards. Now, when we get to your 52, there's barely any gap in here. You've only got a 6-yard gap, you know. So that 52, I'm starting to wonder whether you actually need to carry that.
That's a 4-yard gap, by the way.
4-yard gap. Quick maths. I'm going to get some stick for that one of you guys. You're right, a 4-yard gap, which makes it even worse. And to be fair, looking at these as well, they were all good strikes. You know, you've struck them really well. So 4-yard gap. If we were to lose that and go straight up to an 80, up to your gap wedge, there's a 20-yard gap, which is better than 4 degrees, isn't it? You know, at least you'd know which club to use. It may be the fact that if we were going to get a perfect set of wedges, Rob, rather than having this 56 that goes 66 yards, we could possibly look at a 54, you know, to bring that gap. If we lose your 52, to bring that gap to around 15 yards, possibly look at a 54 to fit in between, you know, obviously, you know, so we went 60, 54, then your gap wedge. That could be an option. But then after your gap wedge, at 86, we go up to sort of, it's sort of showing 86 here, isn't it? But I think that's
because of that one. That was heavy.
Yeah, you've hit a heavy shot in here. But if you look at these at 90 and 96, it's proving that the pitching wedge is stronger. Yeah. The pitching wedge is stronger. So we're all right here. We're all right at pitching wedge and gap wedge. I think the club that you need to lose is the 52.
I mean, I've been thinking about that because I don't feel as comfortable hitting a full 52 as I do with the gap wedge.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's cavity bikes, and I'm used to because they're the same irons.
Yeah.
So I use them a lot, so I'm comfortable with them. I'd sometimes use a 52 round green, but I'm not 100% comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I'd rather use. If it's fluffy, he's using a 56, 56 and get it on. Or if it's not fluffy, like an 8-iron.
I just feel if we lose that 52, you know, it's only 4 degrees difference anyway, or 4 yards difference, sorry, between your 56. It's going to give you more time to focus on the wedge, you know, a smaller amount of wedges. And I think when it does come to changing your wedges, you know, I don't want to plant a seed here, but I think possibly looking at a 54 and a 60.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got that 54, which is a bit of a sand wedge / gap wedge, or slam wedge, you know.
So I'd go from gap to 54 to 60.
To 60. That I feel would be probably a better for you. But you'd have to stick to that brand, obviously, because we've gapped you today on Matt Daddy's. You know, if you were to change brand, the lofts could change completely again, couldn't they? But that's why I think fitting based on distance is so much more important than fitting on lofts, because if you look at the lofts, you've gapped it perfectly, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know, I reckon you've got sort of 4 degrees between each wedge, so you'd think that thered be a significant distance, but it proves that.
I mean, I was aware
because
when I wanted the Callaways don't do a 52.
Yeah.
In that high toe, full face, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They don't do a 52. The lowest is 54. But I'd already got a 56.
Yeah.
So I didn't want a 54.
Yeah. I reckon you trade your 56 and your 52 in
And get a 54.
and get a 54. So I hope that's helped you guys, you know, learn on how to really best gap your wedges, you know, based on distances and not based on lofts. I know you've enjoyed that, Rob.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, guys.
And we'll be seeing you guys in a few days' time. Bye.